Good evening and welcome to RTD's News. Tonight's top stories are: concerning the 2016 presidential elections, the people voice putting President Gele for the 2016 presidency is skyrocketing each day. In Brazil, a dam burst killed 16 people and dozens others are missing.
Thanks for joining us. Now the Djiboutian people live at time of 2016 presidential election. Before that deadline and with the lack of President Gele's candidacy announcement, the Djiboutian people could not retrain themselves. Djibouti are indeed stormed to the street demanding Presidential Ismail Omar Gele nomination in 2016. This march that has been started a few months ago throughout the different districts of the capital has become a real mobilization and stronger each day, which turned into that tremendous rally last Sunday in the capital part of the capital. This mobilization has spread to the regions with more intensive. Thus the regions of Arta, Oboh and Dakhil experienced a strong mobilization today, where Ali Sabi and Tajurra will be demonstrating tomorrow to ask the president to run for a fourth term.
As for the Arta region has experienced a huge gathering in Raleigh today. In its history, this is the first time they have ever carried out this kind of demonstration. The people of the whole region in Karta to Loya Ade, through the networks of associations, gathered this morning for a 1-kilometer walk to demand President Gele to be a candidate in 2016 presidential elections. A march that turned into a sea of people uniting youth, women, older people, community, and traditional leaders, including parliamentarians and local elected. Let's take a look at these images.
inaan nastaan doonayaay dadweynow ii duceey dalkeena horumarkiisa in badan baanu soo dadaalo dadkayga u soo shaqeeye dantiina ku hawlanayo inaan nastaan doonayaay dadweynow ii duceey
dadan waad muujiso waxaan duca qabo ku nidhi qadarka diyaaradaha iyo dalkeena masooyinkiisa qadarka diyaaradaha iyo dalkeena masooyinkiisa intaadiriyow dhisayso wandino
aabba horay baad naftaada ugu hibaysay dalkaaga haatan iyo muka joog hamiga dadweynaha iyo fariinta hooyada gobolka Carta dhamaantii hiba alla ku siiyeeyo ayaan baan kugu ognahay aabbo arxan iyo adeeg qaran yaan kugu ognahay aabbo aqoon iyo aragti dheer aan kugu ognahay aabbo Cartana waa ugbaad iyo ubaxa beerto wali aan adkaano ku baahan aabe intaan taabagalayna noo adeega aabbo taaban ku leenahay aabbo maanta Carta dhamaantii
naaninahanama baaro qabtay mamangoy uriga bakaltii madhaytuku nibirzaanawu konna breeki moobino hinna yurinki italuku solo konano Carta yuntukinku solo konano ku nek moobinay ahne mango tamako ambarta ko solla kan nibirzaano nek moobi hinna ani hay yoje ani hay Ismail Omar Gele ani hay
ducaqabu ku nidhi qadarka diyaaradaha iyo dalkeena masooyinkiisa qadarka diyaaradaha iyo dalkeena masooyinkiisa
farxadda maalintii runta weeyaan run baan isku sheegaynaa mar horena waan ka hadlabayd raadiyooga waxa aan leenahay waa run waa daashay annagaa ku dooranay maanta waxaan ku leenahay baaqi aan kuu soo jeedinayna jawaabteedaan kaa sugayna insha allahu tacaala haddii aad tidhaahdo waanni diidayna bacadkaan seexanaynaa bacadka magaaladan kaaga baxayna annagaa bacadka
waxaan leenahay annaku waxaan nahay gobolkii gobollada ugu yaraa weli mabaanaan gurguuranine musaasad baa weli naloo sameeyaa aabba ha naga tagin baan ku leenahay ilaa aadna gaadhsiiso gobollada kale aabba wixii aad soo qabatay cadceeddu hadday soo baxdo sacabkuma qariyo cadceeddu hadday soo baxdo sacabkuma qariyo ninkii hadliya ninkii hawraaraba waxaad qabatay way muuqataa dalkuna wuxuu ku leeyahay aabba ku noqo annagu haddaan nahay gobolkii cartaadna waxaan ku leenahay aabba ha naga tagin baabaan ku leenahay si gaaraan ku leenahay ha naga tagin
dariiqa horumarkaan dadkayga u jeexayo midnimadu hubiniyo dimuqraasiga runta dalkii nabadan xidhe hidaayo ii duceeya dariiqa horumarkaan dadkayga u jeexayo midnimadu hubiniyo dimuqraasiga runta dalkii nabadan xidhe
maanta haddaan shicibka reer cartanahay aabbo waan kuu soo bannaabaxnay waxaan leenahay aabbo noogu mar afraad noogu naqaan leenahay aabbo waxa weeyaan shicibka reer Djibouti aabbo waa kala jacayl iyo maxabbay kuu jecel yihiin waxqabadkaagay arkeen boorashaad noo dhigtay waxbarashada caafimaadka waadna deeqda aabbo waan kuu bannaabaxaynaa dalkaa kuu baahan ummaddaa kuu baahan maanta afraad noogu naqaan aabbo maanta ku leenahay noo jawaab si degdeg noogu jawaab haddii kala aqalka nimanayno bacadkaan seexanayna iyo shay
halkan Ismaaciil oo ka salaamayo waa dalkiibaa deeqday oo dadkiibaa deeqday ee bahay ku daa Ismaaciil diiriyow daacada ku joog cid ugu doorsan ma jirtaa dalkaba waa ku dooranaye aabbo ha naga tagin noo joog ayaa ku leenahay
ayagana waxaan leenahay qalbiga iyo qulubta iyo qalbigan ka jecelnahay noohay baan leenahay
weliga hayban leenahay xaji allah cilmiga rajo allah kuwa qabto noo joog baan ku leenahay
gobolka waa gobolkaygii oo wadanka ku dhashay aad iyo aad Ismaaciilna waxaan leeyahay ha jiro ha joogo
aad iyo aad baan u arahadlayaa waxaan u maraan ciyaalkaygii oo dhan baa wala jecel madaxweynaha reer arta annaku haddaan reer arta aan nahay annaku inuu joogaan doonayna annaku
waxaan doonayaa adaga agoon koriyo daadaheeye aabbo noo joog waa ku ooyeynaa anaga tagin aabbo hayaan daadahee waa ku ooyeynaa aabbo intaa dhistay in kale dhis aabbo
dabalkaadu ka qadin dadaalkaagii dhammaysan waan diidno
haddaad dhegaysid
waan diidno
haddaad dhegaysid
waan diidno
haddaad dhegaysid
waan diidno haddaad dhegaysid
dunida oo dhan dalkan maalgelinu keenay dareenkii ugu dambeeyo diyaarada reer Djibouti dalkay u adeegayaan hidaayo ii duceeya.
Today, Friday, October 6, 2015, the civil society of the Dakhil region in the south of the country has organized a march for support to request the President Ismail Omar Guelleh to seek re-elected at the next election in 2016. Very early this morning at 6 hours, a dense crowd of young peoples, women and men, community and associations leaders is on the main road to start the work for support the President of the Republic. The fervor of the civil society came from all localities that makes up this region was tangible. These processes, after a long walk, ended up on the Independence Square located downtown in Dakhil. There were more than 1,000 people to the sound a traditional dance, and moderns strongly reaffirmed their entire confidence in the actions of the head of state, Ismail Omar Guelleh, the interventions of the elders and the representative of the civil society. The area of the unit have unanimously praised the actions of the President in favor of socio-economic development of our country. Thus, in respect of major projects initiated by the President of the Republic, the Dakhil people asked solemnly the head of state to run for a new mandate in 2016.
hore iyo dambaysaba ay u buuxday iyaan
The community leaders of the northern regions of Tijora and Obok have all expressed and asked the head of state to represent himself for a new mandate in the Supreme Magister of 2016. They are all supporting the president for his tireless efforts and for the many achievements in the regions of North, with soon the completion of the new port in Tijora and the highway between Tijora and Bal'u, as well as the major projects in the region of Obok, with the dam of Sadai and the new airport known as Ahmed Dini in Angaru. These projects will instill a dynamic development in the northern regions, where other projects initiated by the President of the Republic are in progress. This is a huge resamplement of Obok region. People are expressing their feelings and support for the President Gele.
كاكتا سنة تنبولي تانين كمارغا ميا وسكنه يسيهنا نانو
نخمو من الحين كنا نخمو من الحين وري حاجتنا
نيم حبين كاكنا نيك حبيبا ما أسوق تعبه طبعا كيكو نسنتا بعروها بعمل فرامها دي مجنة حيوهن إيش شعبي وقتك ما حبين كاكا الحين وشعبي تسع كل كليان
نبع سيالليلي اللي بدا إسماعيلي نبع سيالليلي كيبول لقي ياللي نبا مدعل لقي يالي ما حل حدين ديفو كيبول لقي ياللي نبا كوعيك نكروغو تنام وسيان كسيواي بيسوه التامل يبتر بن التنين تابلنتين التنين تابايتين التنين يارجع عقلين نوم نبايتو كروغو تنام
A Canadian delegation led by the Director General of the National Social Fund Security Fund has been received this morning by the Minister of Health, Dr. Qasim Isaq Osman. This delegation is from Ottawa's Paramedic Corporation Company. They will be staying in Djibouti for 4 weeks. During this meeting, the director of the CNSS has explained to the Minister of Health the fact that the National Social Security Fund of Djibouti wants to have an advanced emergency service featuring all the support services and procedures for all the emergencies. In this optic that these Canadian delegations composed of doctors and healthcare professionals will provide support to the CNSS for the establishment of a pre-emergency service in Djibouti's hospital, which will be located in the new building of the CNSS. The Minister of Health, Dr. Qasim Isaq Osman, thanked the Canadian government for its support in the field of health and has recalled the importance of this department's missions serve the population in the best condition by offering them the quality care services.
Still in the national news, the General Fang Yun, Army Chief of General Staff of People's Liberation Army of China and member of the Central Military Commission of the Chinese Communist Party, has arrived last night in Djibouti for a visit of 48 hours. He was joined in this journey by a large delegation composed of Army Corps General Zheng Qingbing, Deputy Commander of the Chinese Air Force, Vice Admiral Qiong Yangbing, Chief of the Staff of the Chinese Navy, and other generals like General Director of Information, General Chen Kyung, and the Head of the Infrastructure Division, the Deputy Director of the Operation Department, the Chief of the Foreign Affairs Office, the Ministry of Defense, and other senior military representatives of important departments. This strong delegation has been greeted at the airport by the General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the Djiboutian Army General Staff, in the presence of General Osman Nour Subagle, Chief of Staff of the Defense, General Hassan Ali Kamil, CMK Advisor, as well as the General Mohammed Tahir Ali, Deputy Chief of Staff of the Defense. Several other personalities were also present, including the Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Aden, the Commander of the Republican Guard, Colonel Mohammed Jama' Douali, the Acting Director of the National Police, Colonel Abdurrahman. Senior members of the Djiboutian Army were also present on the tarmac of the Djibouti International Airport. A brief meeting was held at the VIP lounge of the airport between the two parties. This is the first visit of the General Fang to Djibouti, a first for an officer of this rank in the Republic of Djibouti. Several meetings and visits are scheduled during his 2 days stay in Djibouti.
An important meeting which brought together senior officials of IGAD and the Minister of Health took place in Djibouti Palace Kempeski. This meeting was focused on drug traffic security in the IGAD countries. It has been shared by the General Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Ali Silay Abdallah. During this meeting, it was clearly proven that counterfeit and expired drugs for sale in the markets affect the living conditions of the peoples not only in Djibouti but also in all the IGAD countries.
This morning, Djibouti's Chamber of Commerce has hosted an important event which attracted many businesses. Indeed, it was an occasion of an open house day for the market opportunities with the various entities of the U.S. military stations in Djibouti. This day was opened by the speech of the ambassador of the United States, Mr. Tom Kelly, and the president of the Chamber of Commerce Djibouti, Mr. Yusuf Musadwali. In his speech, the ambassador of the United States has recalled that Djibouti First is an important victory for their country, he said, for our commitment to short-term and especially in the long-term in Djibouti. He added that the United States, who are the third largest employers of the Djiboutians, have provided more than 2,000 jobs at Camp Lemonnier and within the embassy. They have invested more than $100 million to Djibouti in the area of safety, health, education, and energy, as well as in different economic sector, said His Excellency. Tom Kelly has stated that Djibouti First is the proof that comes in first into our mind, as well as the fact that the presence of the United States can be beneficial to the Djiboutians.
As for the president of the Djibouti Chambers of Commerce has expressed the wish of the chambers and the private sectors that this day herald to tangible and concrete results for our business and allow the country's business and access without discrimination to opportunities of business that offers the markets issues by the U.S. military throughout a free and open competition. Has it all, he added that Djibouti Chambers of Commerce intends to be the interface between the two parties in dissemination is adjacent to these members. Information is well and the U.S. military services in these different parts and conduct which support the embassy and the command of the U.S. Army's program of capacity building of enterprise for enhanced and competitive and meet the requirements of the markets. The open day was held in two parts, he said. The first was devoted to discussions between the various entities of the U.S. Army and Djiboutian Company. The second part consisted account any different sessions information such as modality business with the U.S. military, the registration procedures on the electronic platform, solicitation response modality and contract enforcement, which that these days brings a better understanding of the markets in the U.S. Army.
The ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti in Paris and permanent delegate to UNESCO, Ayad Moussad, along with a delegation composed of MENFOP technical advisor to the Minister, Mr. Mohamed Abdullah Mahyoub, and General Director of Education, Mr. Abdi Skiye Qayad, are taking part in the 38th year session of the General Conference of UNESCO from November 3 to 18 at UNESCO headquarters in Paris. In a major speech he delivered before the August Assembly Wednesday, November 4, the head of the Djiboutian delegation has long tracked the great lines of Djibouti education policies conducted under the leadership of His Excellency President Ismail Mergele, focusing on significant progress made by our country education and vocational training, as like other developing countries continue their efforts since the Dakar Forum in 2000. In the area of education, our country, he said, has undertaken reforms in depth to adapt to the major changes in the world of education. He then highlighted the positive results of the reform of our educational system in terms of access, equity, and quality. Ambassador Ayad has also stressed in this regard the significant increase of the children's school enrollment, in particular that of girls, as it has already reached the gender parity in primary education and that is moving toward the same path in the secondary. With regard of the quality of education, enormous efforts have been deployed by our government to enhance our learners, he said. During this speech, the head of the delegation also discussed the cultural sectors of science, climate change, while reaffirming our faith values in cooperation with UNESCO.
The ambassador of Japan, His Excellency Mr. Arai, visited in the regions of Tajara and Obok in order to discuss with the prefect of the two regions and to visit different sites of projects funded by Japan. After meeting with the authorities of Tajara and young volunteers of the JICA, he visited the Center for the Empowerment of Women and the Direction of Agriculture in the region, as well as its garden. On Wednesday, Ambassador Mr. Arai paid a courtesy visit to the prefect of Obok, Mr. Hassan Dabele Ahmed. After the encounter, they are moved together at Camp Merkazi along with the UNHCR representative in Djibouti, Mr. Paul that room in order to obtain information on the situation of Yemen refugees. These Yemen refugees are supported by the Republic of Djibouti with support of a partner including the Japanese Corporation. The UNHCR representative, Mr. Abdurrahman Munawar, has provided the information on the daily work in favor of Yemen refugees, who are now 2,634 persons, including women and children. And finally, they have completed their visit to the Center of Guidance and Assistance to Migrants of the International Organization for Migration, which was built in 2012 by the contribution of Japan. The representative of the International Organization for Migration, Mr. Burhan, has informed the Japanese ambassador, Mr. Are, and his delegation on support activities of the International Organization for Migration to Yemenis migrants and refugees. During the various meetings, the ambassador Are had welcomed to the fruitful cooperation of Japan in the development of regions, whereas wish the continuation of this work in the same track.
A training workshop of IT professionals from the public and private sectors has been closed yesterday afternoon in the meeting rooms of the People's Palace. The purpose was to train them on the whole range of issues of cybercrime. This training is organized jointly by the Ministry of Communication in charge of Posts and Telecommunications, in partnership with the International Union of Telecommunications. The main objective of this training is to fight against cybercrime, which is raging in the world. The training aims to decrease the ability of those who are already applied in the activities of piracy. This training has lasted for 4 days, and it was animated by 2 experts from the Arab region, more precisely of the Regional Office Database in Amman. Certificates have been handed over to the participants of this workshop. The Director General of Djibouti Telecom, Mohamed Assoubi, and the Acting Director of the Posts and Telecommunications, as well as the representative of the International Union of Telecommunications, Amir Babrez, were present for the closing of this training. Director General of Djibouti Telecom, Mohamed Assoubi, has also explained in his intervention in details the importance of this training and has not failed to thank the 2 experts.
News release. The Ministry of Health is informing the population that a Saudi medical caravan known as non-governmental organization Dawa Africa will be held from November 7 to 12 in the health centers of Farhad and Balbala 1. These consultations are composed on pediatrician, general medicine, and dermatology. The consultation in the centers will be according to the following dates: for the centers of Farhad from November 7 to 9, in the centers of Balbala 1 it will take place from November 10 to 12. We are asking the people to come massively to consult in these 2 health centers during the Saudi medical caravan. Note that these consultations are all free of charge.
As for the Ministry of Housing, Urban Planning and Environment is implementing in the recent years urgent and immediate measures for adapting to climate change in the rural communities. The climate change is thus the main threat to the rural population of the country. UNDP and the Ministry of Environment are collaborating in the implementation and execution of the 2 adaptation projects that strengthens the resilience of rural communities to climate change. As part of the implementation of the activities of these projects, the Department of Urban Planning and Environment, represented by its director Mr. Hussein Irash Roble, and project coordinators, started a 3-day visit to the different areas of intervention of the project, such as the prefectures of Arta, Ali Sabieh, and Tajora. These projects are designed primarily to secure access to water for the agro-pastoral production by the realization of surface water mobilization works and drilling in order to make viable agricultural perimeters. The implementation of these strategies will help with the fight against poverty and increase producers' incomes.
And now the international scene. In Brazil, several people have been killed near the town of Mariana after a dam holding mining was to burst, engulfing houses and vehicles near the Germano mines in Minas Gerais. Let's hear from more information.
Several people have been killed in the southern Brazilian city of Mariana after 2 dams holding waste from an iron ore mine burst. A flood of slurry engulfed dozens of homes and buried vehicles. Local media has reported that up to 16 people have been killed and dozens are missing. Residents living in an area downhill from the dam were told to evacuate to higher ground. The mine is owned by Samarco, a joint venture between Top Iron Ore Mining Company, Brazil's Vale, and Australia BHP Billiton. Samarco said the reason why the dam burst has not yet been determined. BHP Billiton CEO told a news conference in Melbourne that a full assessment of causality and damage had been hampered by darkness.
At least 3 people are reported dead after heavy rain triggered severe flooding in the Jordanian capital Amman. Nearly 1,000 people have had to be freed by rescuers. Let's listen to this report.
Unusual heavy winter rains have hit the Middle East, forcing the closure of main access highways. Torrential rain also swept through desert Jordan, sparking widespread flooding and traffic chaos, but bringing welcome water to reservoir in one of the world's 10 driest countries. Flash floods tore through Lebanon, where several rivers burst their bank, cutting highways off. Howling winds have swept away tents in refugees camps, and there are warning of a major snowstorm approaching.
German coalition agrees to speed up asylum process as influx hits record. The leaders of Germany's ruling coalition's parties struggling with the biggest influx of migrants in the decade, clinching at agreements on Thursday on now to speed up the asylum process for those with the little chance of being allowed to stay. More detail in this report.
Following weeks of unfighting, Germany ruling coalition has come to an agreement on how to speed up the asylum process. Party leaders have been struggling with the biggest migrant influx in decades. They have now decided to set up 5 centers to hold and assess people from countries considered safe. Those barred from re-entry to Germany and those who refuse to cooperate. The measures are expected to culminate in deportation for the most part. 2 of the centers will be in Bavaria, which is bearing the brunt of the migrants' flow. Regional President and CSU party leader Horst Seehofer has outlined the new process. At the center, decision will be made in a short period of time. Administrative proceedings within 1 week, legal proceeding within 2 weeks, he said. Chancellor Angela Merkel has advocated an open-door refugee policy, which has been criticized by the sister party of her conservatives and other German demanding a tougher stances. After the deal was announced, she said, the main point and goal is the integration of those with a perspective to stay in Germany. Within the integration process, we want to bring our value and legal system closer to the refugees. We want to show that Germany is an open country that we are proud of and which has a good reputation in the world. Figures released this week state Germany received 181,000 migrants arrival in October alone, and the number of asylum seekers seems to set 1 million by the end of the year. If this proves to be the case, it would match previous prediction of 800,000 so far in 2015. 700 migrants have crossed in Germany.
This is it for this occasion. Thanks for staying with us. The program still continues in RTD.